therapist with Gardner Counseling Services, and today I am going to talk about the empath and their role in relationships. The empath plays a role in being in a destructive or problematic relationship. Oftentimes there's this view, there's this opinion that you have this bad person, narcissist, and then we have this good person, victim, empath. And so actually it's heads and tails of like the same coin. You have one, okay, I see you, thank you. So you have the, it's like the yin yang thing that we have heard about. If you have like a dance, if you have someone go to the left, then you follow them that way. If you pull this way, they follow you that way. That's kind of how a dance goes. So you have an action and then you have a reaction. You have heads and tails of the same coin. It is still the same coin. There's a reason why the data shows and research shows that a person with narcissistic type of traits are drawn to certain people that have certain traits. It's not that they seek out these people. What their radar will instinctively do is they'll match with people like this, because if we have this very, very empathetic type of person that's selfless, then they're getting their validation, approval, they're getting their needs met by being selfless and needy, so to speak. And so you have this other person getting their needs met, Mr. or Mrs. Narcissist. They're getting their validation, their approval, their acknowledgement from taking. They're saying, look, I'm over here, give me, take, give me, I'm over here, give me your attention, give me your energy, give me your validation, give me your praise, give me, and then you have this person over here, I'm here, look, I'm here, I give, I give. Perfect match, perfect storm when you have these extremes. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to touch on what is an empath, first of all. The word is kind of thrown around these days. We have some people are pretty sensitive and they call themselves an empath. Some people, it's on a spectrum actually, just as the narcissism word, the narcissistic concept is thrown around a lot these days as well. So there is a spectrum. You have people that are slightly selfish, and people have healthy self-esteems, and what others think about them is important, and they put themselves first and they take care of themselves. And then it can go way over to the opposite extreme, where a person will do anything, will do all types of things to hurt people in order to get that approval and validation. That would be the narcissism. So the empath could do the same thing. The empath is on that spectrum. Are you selfish or selfless? Do you view yourself as selfless or selfish? Are you higher than, more than, or less than? How do you view yourself? What's your self-image look like? So that's what I'm going to touch on. So what is empath? It's not in our diagnostic book as a real diagnosis. So as professionals, empathy is not, having this extreme severe empathy is not in our book as an official diagnosis. So that's what it's not. There are different theories out there as far as what an empath actually is. So we haven't heard that word very often until really the last few years. When we start hearing narcissist a lot, we start hearing empath a lot. And so it's kind of like it's more of a popular term. So one of the theories out there is that you have, we know about psychics, people that they can pick up on the future, they can read people's minds and things like that. They can identify issues even that the person may not be aware of. That psychic term, we're familiar with that. So there is a theory out there that says that psychics are actually empaths. So if we were to put that on a spectrum, we could look at it as, because empaths they're intuitive, they're very intuitive. They can feel what's going on with other people. They can see, they may be able to see things that's going on with other people. So we put it on an extreme end of the spectrum. We could say a psychic is an empath, somewhere around population 4 percentile. If you were to really look at a definition, a list of traits for a psychic, what some of the research kind of shows is we're looking at maybe 4% of people might be psychic. So some are saying those are really the real empath. People even pay people for these empathetic, things. There are different types of empaths they pay psychics. So psychic doesn't sound as acceptable or nice and clean as the word empath. So then the birth of the word empath came into play. And so there are different types. There's the emotional ones. That person is in a room with a person, or they're somewhere in the vicinity, and they just feel. They emotionally feel what other people feel. A person may be telling a story. I got a new puppy, and my puppy ran away the other day, and I don't know, it's been 2 days since I've seen the puppy. And then the empath is hearing this, and the empath is absorbing these emotions, but they multiply the intensity. Oh my God, you lost your puppy. Oh my God, where is it? Did you ask the neighbors? Oh my God. And before we know it, it's hours later, they're no longer in the presence of the person with the lost puppy, but they cannot shake the sadness. They're crying. They're like, oh my God, I can't even go to work. I have to call in because this is so heavy on me. So that they absorb the emotion and multiplied it. And it's so big for them because they're absorbing emotions from people all around them. They're in the grocery store, they're around large groups, and they feel very, very, very overwhelmed. Some empaths, and this is kind of what they say, like a true empath, they get so overwhelmed they have to pull away and actually move, like away from the city. And some will move into into very, very remote areas because being around people is so overwhelming. And so that's an emotional empath. There are physical empaths, like medical. If a person has a problem going on with their elbow, this empath is in their presence and they have a problem going on with their elbow. Or they have a headache. This other person has a headache. They may not have even mentioned that they have a headache, but this empath is, oh my God, my head's hurting so bad. My head is hurting so bad. When they're actually absorbing medically what's going on with this other person. So there is a science behind it. There is the EEG. The EEG measures the brain waves. It will measure what's going on. I believe, I'm not a medical person, but the EEG will measure what's going on the outside. And then, there's all types of things, medical instruments, and someone can post some of them if you know of any of them. That measures brain activity. Brain waves, we know. We're very familiar with brain waves, CAT scans, and things like that. They can measure when you're upset about something, when a person sees a picture. Let's say a person is looking at a picture and their brain waves are being measured, and it's just a chair. And then they see a picture that's pretty disturbing. They can see, the graphs. They can see the brain waves. They see a picture of someone that they care and they love. They see reactions in the brain. So there is an electrical field. It's what do they call it? Electromagnetic. There's a word. Anyway, there's an electrical field that emanates from the brain. Well, now what they know is that they can do the same thing with the heart as well. There's electromagnetic fields, so they can tell how you're feeling now because of information. Biofeedback would be one. So they can tell that there's this energy coming through from your heart. So the way our whole body works is there are these neural pathways, there are these cells, and these cells talk to one another. You have one cell and you have another cell, and these little cells, like if you're looking at looking through a stethoscope, and you see a drop of blood, and you see all the little circles, the little cells. They actually talk to each other. They actually have beats as well. Each cell has like a beat. And so there's this communication going on all over the body, and that's pretty much how we function. It's like telephone lines. Well, what it also does is it sends out this energy outside of our body. It sends this in, and this is measurable scientifically, biologically. It's measurable. So what happens is there are some people that are able to pick up on this energy field that's going on around us. That's what that is. It is science. It's biology. It's scientific. It's a scientific experience. So there are these people, and it's actually a gift, that are able to pick up on it. So you have this person that's saying, oh my God, my puppy, I haven't seen my puppy in 2 days. And then you have this other person in their environment, oh my God, you haven't seen your puppy in 2 days? Oh, they're actually, it's as if they have these things on them that's linking them to what's going on deeper in that person. So the person, let's say the person lost their puppy dog. They also have a bigger loss from years ago where someone passed away. And there's some sadness in there too, but they're not thinking about it here. Well, the empath is picking up on that. The empath is picking up on that when they were 10 years old. They had a dog that was almost died, and they nursed it to health, and they had formed a really strong attachment. And then they saw the dog die, trauma. They saw the dog get hit by a car and die after a 10-year relationship with that dog. Now, the person today that actually lost the puppy dog isn't thinking about that one right now, not right here, but the empath is picking up on it. The empath may or may not, depending on how attuned they are, get even a visual that something really big. What's going on with the dog thing? Something must have really happened when it comes to animals or pets, right? That's kind of where psychic, they're kind of moving over into that area. So there's a gift in being able to pick up on all this other people's emotional feels so strongly, emotional or physical. So there's different types of empath. There are cranial empaths, to where they are able to pick up on thoughts, on what's really going on. So the intuition, we could call it intuition, is really, really strong. So having said that, so if you visualize you have this person that is a narcissist, this person is emotionless, this person is empathetic less, they don't have any of that going on, there's nothing there. And then you have this other person over here that's highly, highly, highly reactive, highly sensitive, so what's going on with the narcissist is here, they have emotionally, they have shut down that part of them. A long time ago, they shut it down. So when they were younger and the emotions came up, they learned to contain it. They learned to compartmentalize their emotions. They take it, put that over there. It's not going to work. I have needs. Here's little narcissist, little child. I have needs. I have wants. I'm lonely. I'm scared. I'm hungry. I'm angry. I'm hurt. I'm fearful. My dog ran away, and I'm really hurt behind that. Or my best friend died. I'm 10 years old, I'm 8 years old, I'm hurt by that. Well, for whatever reason, they were not allowed to feel that feeling. They were not allowed to feel that hurt. It was not okay to cry. If they were in a game and they were hit by a ball, it was not okay to cry. It was not okay. That was viewed as weak. So it was not okay to look weak. So they learned I don't need it anyways. Yes, mom is never there, and I need to take up the slack because mom's at work. I don't need it anyways. Or they may have had parents that had esteemed them, falsely empowered them, put them on a pedestal, and made them appear as bigger than they really are. For example, they may have had a parent that went to them for support, for emotional support. May have had a parent that said, I don't know what I'm going to do about your dad. I don't know what I'm going to do about your father. And you have this little child. Oh, you're always there for me. That kind of thing can develop a narcissist as well. That child can do no wrong. That child can do no wrong. So no matter what happens, that child can do no wrong. And so that child grow up think, I can do no wrong. So I am entitled. I am entitled to all this attention. I am entitled to all this praise. So now we have this other person over here that may have gotten the opposite. I'm not important. I'm not good enough. No matter what I do, it's not good enough. No matter how I look, it's not good enough. No matter how strong I am, no matter how much I try, it's not good enough. So there's this core belief, I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not strong enough. That could be one. Or I'm bad, a scapegoat. Golden child over here, Mrs. or Mr. Narcissist can do no wrong. Mr. or Mrs. Narcissist can do no wrong. And we have the other one over here, that's the scapegoat in the family. They're bad. The teacher from school is always calling, your child is in trouble. 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 And so now, as an adult, they may have trouble holding a job. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. They're the bad one. And so, or you could have the person that's an overachiever in school, straight A's, and then they make that B. And then there's a parent that hones in on that B and says, what happened? There's all these expectations from parents, from family, from friends, from school, from leaders in school, teachers, and everybody expects this overachiever to achieve up here. And so then the person doesn't, because perfectionists, they expect perfection. Perfectionism is impossible. It's an impossible achievement, so they fall short. And then here we go. I'm not good enough. I gotta try. I gotta try. I gotta try. So they may do very well academically. They get involved in activities. They may do very well in their activities as well. They excel in things that they do, but it's never good enough. It's never good enough, and it's never good enough. So they start incorporating that belief. So I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. So matched up with this other person that's falsely empowered. I am perfect. I am God. I am better than everything. Perfect storm. So one isn't any sicker than the other. I want to communicate that. One isn't any sicker than the other. It is heads and tails of the same coin. One is might come across as selfish. Underneath that is shame. Underneath that is a very low complex self-image. A very inferior complex is underneath that, but the superior complex is on the outside. And then the other one is may be more aware. The empath, so to speak, they may be more aware that they have a low complex, that they don't think that much of themselves, that they have a very low esteem, and that they put others above them, they put others before them. Now, a narcissist will flip to that. A narcissist will be, there's the overt narcissist and the covert narcissist. So the covert narcissist can look empathetic, but at the end of the day, it's usually about them. That's kind of the difference. It's about them. At the end of the day, the covert narcissist still really is not into whether or not they hurt someone else. It's still all about them. Okay, so one of the things that I want to touch on today is that both will push and pull. Both the narcissist, especially the narcissist, has a push and pull. One of the things Claudia and I have been talking about for a while is the avoidance, the preoccupied anxious attachment style. That empath. There's empaths can have different types of attachment styles. There's the preoccupied anxious attachment style, and then there's the fearful avoidant attachment style. That empath. So we talked about doing a video. You may see a video pretty soon with the two of us about that, about the The preoccupied anxious. The preoccupied anxious attachment style is the person that shows up in relationships. They're nervous, they're anxious, they obsess, they focus on one thing, and they just get fixated on that one thing. They look at their cell phone and there's no text. You know, they text someone good morning. Why didn't he text me? Why didn't he text me? He didn't text me. He didn't call me. I want to be mad. Maybe last night I shouldn't have said this. I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't. It's lunchtime and they're still fixated on that text message. They obsess. They worry. They worry. I need this person to text me. I need them. I need them. I need them. I need to hear from them. I need to hear from them. Oh my God, you know, now, oh my God, it's been all day. It's 3 o'clock and I haven't heard from them. I haven't heard from them. That kind of thing. So that is a preoccupied anxious. They get anxious and they will create drama. They will create drama. That's their fuel. We talk about narcissistic fuel. If we're looking at the empath, an empathetic person that has a preoccupied anxious attachment style, that worry, that obsession, that is actually their type of fuel. That's how, you know, they've got all this electromagnetic activity going on over here. It's spewing out. And they're not able to contain it a lot of times if they're not working on that. And so there's enough of that going out. And so you've got this flat narcissist here that doesn't have any of that. That's flat. That they just eat that up. So it's like, give me more, give me more, give me more. So that's the preoccupied anxious empath. The fearful avoidant empath. So you have this person that's very, very sensitive, but they're an avoidant still. Avoidants aren't good with closeness. They are not comfortable with people being intimate, people being very, very close to them. They're not comfortable with that. So they're a fearful avoidant because they want a relationship, and when they're not in some sort of relationship, especially romantic, they want people to come close to them. They want that. They hunger for that, very similar to the preoccupied anxious, and there will be a level of obsession around that as well. However, when it comes to really showing up, being vulnerable, being honest, being open, saying, no, I don't want that. Yes, I do want that. Yes, they don't feel comfortable with that. They do have a fear of abandonment. Any insecure attachment style has a fear of abandonment. However, they don't feel that fear of abandonment until they're alone. When they don't have that person coming close to them or trying to get close to them, that energy, all that energy coming from that person trying to get close to them, then they will feel that unconscious fear of abandonment. I want a relationship, I want a relationship, I want a relationship, I want a relationship, I want a relationship. They get fixated on that. They might run into somebody. They may love bomb them. They may, this is the fearful avoidant I'm talking about. They may love bomb them. They may seduce them. They may say all the right things. I want a relationship. Oh yeah, I like that. They may start mirroring the person as well. Yeah, I like to be on the phone all the time. Oh yeah, I think texting in the morning, good morning, is very important. I want to have that person I could just text every morning and say good morning. I want to have that person I could text at night and say good night, you know. But then after a while, they stop feeling it. This is where the preoccupied anxious person, that doesn't stop. Matter of fact, they want more and more and more and more and more of that. The fearful avoidant empath, a fearful avoidant person stops feeling that drive to be close, because this person is coming closer, closer, closer. We're getting to know each other. We're talking a lot about our issues. We're talking a lot about our fears. We're communicating our weaknesses, our shame, our fears, our desires. Okay, now you're getting really close. You're getting close to that. I don't love myself. Or you're getting really close to that, I feel very insecure being myself. Or you're getting really close to that, I don't really feel like I'm enough. That's way too close. Let me do a distancing strategy. I gotta push back. I gotta get you out of there. I gotta push back. What do you mean you want me to show up? So then the fearful avoidant may start complaining about the neediness of this other person, which is usually a preoccupied, anxious person. They start complaining, or you could have two fearful avoidants. One person will go into an obsession mode, though, because the push-pull needs to be there. The come close, go away needs to be there for that chaos, that's drama, that needs to be there. So distancing strategies. So even empaths do this. Even an empath will do this. Even an empath will have these distancing strategies. This person would still be an avoidant. So push-pull. I'm going to look at some of the comments. Is this a question? The narcissist isn't as sick as the empath or vice versa? They're both sick. The narcissist is not being themselves, and they have a false self. They have a false mask on. They have a false mask that says, I'm all of that and a bag of chips. The empath isn't being themselves, and they have a false mask on. They have a superhero cape on. They have I used to envision when I was learning about codependency long ago, you put your little cape on, you have a little CR that says codependency, that says, I'll save you, like Mighty Mouse from Mighty Mouse. I'll save you. I am on my way. Save the world. It's a false mask. It's false empowerment. I can change this other person. I can fix this other person. I am nice enough. I am kind enough. I'm very kind. I'm very nice. I'm very loving. This narcissist person just needs my love. I can love them into empathy. They just need someone to listen to for them. They just need someone. So that's the false mask. Even though I don't want to do this thing that's being asked for me, I'm going to do it anyway. There's the falseness. Even though I want to say no to this, I don't want to go to that movie, or I don't like this type of movie, or I don't even like that kind of restaurant, I'm going to say yes anyway. And I'm going to do that over and over and over again. Even though I do not feel like I was heard and I keep getting interrupted, I really like this person. I don't want them to go away, so I'm going to pretend that it's okay. Even though I'm angry with this person, this could be at work, at home, at school, this could be friends, this could be romantic relationship, this could be parental and child relationships, this could be close friends, buddies. Even though I'm angry with this person, I'm frustrated with what they do, and that's piling up over and over. It's piling up and it's piling up. I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't like confrontation, and I want to avoid confrontation at all costs. So I'm going to avoid confrontation. I'm not going to speak up and be myself. I'm going to put this mask on. And what's happening, it's coming out sideways. It's going to come out sideways. You not being true to yourself and not honoring your own values, your own opinions, your own desires is going to come out sideways. It can come out in the form of addiction. It can come out in the form of depression. It can come out in the form of having maybe an anger problem, even sometimes exploding. We push down, we push down, we push down like a balloon. It's bigger. We push it out. We stuff it and stuff it and stuff it and stuff it and pop. Overreaction. $20 reaction to a $2 event. $20 reaction to a $2 event. That's something that an empath might do. So those are distancing strategies as well, because that does not lend itself to empathy. When you don't show up, it does not lend itself to empathy. One of the biggest things that I talk about in my book about narcissistic abuse is the number one injury for the narcissistic abuse survivor is that injury of identity, not knowing who you are, not being who you are, and losing it. Losing it. When we say, what is it you like? What is it you want? It's like, when a person is just coming out of that cloud of narcissism, you know, that relationship, that black cloud, that's new to them. They haven't thought about that in a long time. All they know is they're miserable. All they know is, you know, when I do try to speak up, I don't get heard. When I do, so it just kind of goes underground. What is it you really want? Well, I know what I really want is this. What I really want for my career is that. What I really want is to not even live here in this town. What I really want is to not really be in this room. When I think about it, I really didn't like this person. But for some reason, I just feel bonded to them. So, let's see. So you have two people. A narcissist it's not going to fit with a person with a secure attachment style. It's not going to fit because they're going to poke and poke and poke and poke. They're going to use they're going to blame, they're going to deny, and they're just going to discount the person's desires and opinions. They're going to discount that person. They're going to say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. They're going to be so a person with a secure attachment style is going to say, no, that didn't work for me. So that attraction is not going to be there. It's not going to get traction. If a narcissist meets a secure person, then there's going to be a repulsion there because the tactics, they're going to get fuel from wherever they can. They're going to try to get some of it. But a secure person is going to say, this doesn't feel right. This is inconsistent with what I believe in, so I'm not going to go there. So, but when we have this malignant empath, empath with these malignant behaviors, I'm forgiving these inappropriate behaviors, and you have this narcissist, I take. It's a perfect match. It's a trauma bond, and it develops a trauma bond where we can't pull out of there. So, why can't the empath be themselves? The empath and the narcissist both do not have a good sense of self. Exactly. So the empath learned just like the narcissist did when they were really young, not to be themselves. So let's look at some of that. So I want to make sure I stay on track with my notes as well. How do we push people away? I've talked about that. Dishonesty does that. You know, the narcissist might directly, blatantly lie. The narcissist might gaslight. Well, guess who else? Guess who else is doing that by not being themselves? Sometimes the empath will cover up for the narcissist as well and join them. Sometimes the empath will defend. You know, I have a person that comes to me for problems with the relationship with the narcissist, and then I start talking about what narcissism is and what it is, and then I say, well, this is really a good person, but I know, you know, deep down they don't mean it, and they start coming up with excuses, and they came for narcissistic abuse recovery. So there's the core belief of not feeling like we're good enough, both of them. So it sounds like the empath is stuck in an earlier developmental stage and they weren't able to move through. Yes, that's accurate. Both of them are stuck in a developmental stage. There's an emotional developmental stage that they get stuck in. Little babies, you know, 2-year-olds. The 2-year-old, they call it the terrible twos, right? They go through the selfish stage. They go through a stage, it's a normal stage where they're like, oh, I'm different from mom. Oh, I can say no. I can do things and I can break things. I can walk over to the refrigerator, open the refrigerator, grab an egg and drop it on the floor. I think I'll start exploring my environment. I can walk now. I'm going to start breaking things. Let's see what happens. And when I break things, I get these reactions from these people around me. If I go and I see that glass on the table, I take it and I just knock it to the ground and it splatters and makes this loud noise. This big person over here says something and they get really upset with me. There's a cause and effect thing. I get attention. I get attention from that. And so it starts that, terrible twos. They say you better, what do they call, they go, child-proof your house. Because my 2-3-year-old is coming over and they're going to be into stuff. That is a normal, natural development. That is helping develop the attachment style. Explore the environment. Is it safe? I've got this safe haven over here, which might be mom. It's supposed to be mom and dad. At that point, it's usually mom. I've got this safe person over here, so I can pull out and explore the environment. I can take risks. And people can get upset at me and still love me. Yes, I went over to the refrigerator, grabbed a whole carton of eggs, and then I grabbed some ketchup. And I sat there on the floor, and I called myself baking a cake at the age of 2 or 3 years old. Oh, we need the butter. I think we need whatever that or whatever we call it, yellow stuff. Let me grab some of that too. And we sit on the floor, and we have bowls and everything, and there's a mess there on the floor. And of course, none of the eggs are together. That we have a whole pile of eggs, and we have all this stuff, and now we have all this stuff. And then this big person walks in the room, and they see all that. How do they respond? Hence, attachment style. How that person responds to this experience is going to have a whole lot to do with whether or not you feel safe in this world, and is it okay for you to be you. That is one example. How often do we go through that when we're that age? When we start pulling up and walking a little bit over the age of 1, and then we hit 2 years old and 3 years old and getting into stuff, how do adults around us respond? Is it safe for me to be me? Because that's being me. That 2 or 3 year old, that's that 2 or 3 year old being themselves. I'm reminded of my sister. I remember my sister's 3 years older than me, and I remember her daughter was eating. And she was 2. And I remember this like yesterday. I remember she was 2 and she was sitting there eating, and it was a mess. She was in a high chair, I think. I don't remember. I want to say it was a high chair. And she's this person is 40 now, so the 2-year-old that I'm talking about. And she had food all everywhere, and it was a mess. And I remember my sister saying, "Look at you, you're eating like a 2-year-old. You're making a mess. You're making a mess." And she was upset. My sister was upset. And I said, "But she is a 2-year-old. And then my sister laughed. She laughed, and that kind of helped make light of it. But at first, she was angry. Her knee-jerk reaction was, "You messed up everything. You messed up your clothes. Look at you. You messed up things." So we could easily interpret all of this venom, this negative energy in the air. Oh my God, I'm scared. And what it does is this child can develop to be overly sensitive. The brain is being developed. The body is being developed. Remember, these cells are being developed, and all this communication system is being developed. This radar system is being developed here. This energetic sphere, this energetic field is being developed here. It's been starting since before the child even came out, and now it's growing up. And so this brain is being developed, and that attachment system up until like the age of 2 or 3 years old, it's really being developed. There's a ton of activity there. Am I safe or am I not? 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 That brain is like a sponge. It's that limbic system and that amygdala. It's recording things and taking things. Am I safe or am I not? Let me test over here. Let me test over there. Am I safe or am I not? Is it okay for me to be me, or is it not? If I hurt, will I get nurtured, or am I on my own? If I'm lonely, if mom walks out and I cry, will I get attention? Will I get nourished? Or am I going to be told to shut up and suck it up? Am I on my own? If mom starts leaving out of the room and that child is oblivious to mom leaving out, they could care less if mom is around, we're probably looking at a child that's developed an avoidant attachment style. An avoidant attachment style. So if sometimes mom is okay and sometimes mom isn't okay, sometimes mom is supportive, sometimes mom isn't supportive, sometimes dad is there and dad is supportive, and sometimes dad is not supportive, then the child might develop fearful avoidant, or what we call a disorganized attachment style. I don't talk about that one that much. That means sometimes a child can be soothed and calmed down, and sometimes they cannot. Sometimes they can calm down and sometimes they cannot. The preoccupied anxious child cannot. They get obsessed and they cannot calm themselves down. The fearful avoidant, push, come, go. That will be closer to the disorganized, come, go, go away, come, go. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. Sometimes they look like a preoccupied anxious attachment style, sometimes they don't. So they're all over. So going back to empaths, so the empath, so what happens is you have this little child, we have these different temperaments. We're all born with a certain temperament. Some are more sensitive than others. Some children, if you have like 3 or 4 kids, you see all these different temperaments. One child, you see him as a baby crawling. You see him as a baby that can't even walk. This one doesn't cry that much. You have this one crying all the time. You have one, they fall and they hurt and get up and walk, and they fall again and they crawl up and walk, and they've got little bruises and they walk, and it's like, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get there. And then you have this other one, they fall and they help me. They're born like that. We have these temperaments. I remember one of my grandkids, I remember seeing her in the you have the carrier and they're sitting there, and she was probably 2 months old or so, and somebody might say something or touch her or do a collar, and she go, we're like, what? She'd use her whole body expressive. She couldn't talk, but you could clearly see she was really angry. She had, and that temperament is there today. This is a 5-year-old today. That temperament is still there. What she would start doing when she started crawling and walking and start doing things, she did not like anybody to help her. Let me do it on my own. And today she's 5 and she's still like that. No. If I can't do it on my own, all the deal is off. Do not help me. Let me learn to tie my shoe on. Do not help me. That's a temperament right there. So we're born with certain temperaments. So if someone has this very, very highly sensitive temperament, and they get disregarded, discounted, ignored, not supported as a child growing up, and they need it even more, that child needed even more, then they might grow up more of an empath. It's like they're wide open, and they never learn to self-regulate those emotions. They never learn to grow that container. And this is a physical thing as well. It's physical. There are physical differences in people that are very, 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 very sensitive and very, very, very reactive versus people that are not. So there are the word I was looking for before, receptors. There are receptors when in the brain, when there is activity in the brain, there's communication in the brain, information goes from one side of the brain, like we have a synapse, the middle part of the brain here. Information goes from one side to the other side, and there are little doors there, and we call them receptors. Like you have chemicals trying to go to the other side of the brain, and there's like a door there that opens, and the chemical goes over there, and then we feel a certain kind of way, and then information goes over here, chemicals go over here, dopamine, serotonin, norepinephrine, all these different chemicals going over here. Doors are over here, and they are opening, and some opening, some closing, and then the information goes over here, and we feel a certain kind of way. Alcohol, drugs like cocaine, meth, opiates, there are certain receptors that they work on, and they keep certain doors open, certain doors closed, and then some chemicals might fill up right here in the middle, and we get high or drunk. So that's kind of how that works from a substance standpoint. So the empath, just as addicts has a lot of those. So it takes more. This sensitive person has a lot of those doors. Like that's where depression goes. So it takes more. Addicts, as they drink alcohol or do drugs, they start having more and more and more receptors, and the receptors get smaller and smaller and smaller. So it takes more and more, and that's the building of a tolerance level. It's the same thing, and that's why so many people, their behaviors look like an addict. When you learn about addiction, and they don't drink, and they don't do drugs, but their behavior, there is still this neediness. What the alcoholic or the drug addict will do is they'll draw these people into their lives, called codependence. They'll draw this person with this huge reservoir of empathy, this huge reservoir to give, this huge need to give. And they got all those chemicals going on in their brain as well. So that's kind of how there's that perfect match. So it's okay to make a cake without a mixing bowl on the kitchen floor. Does the empath need to do that today? If you were that kid and you need to relive that, and that is going to be therapeutic for you, go home and grab it and make you a cake on that floor. Matter of fact, that's what the healing looks like. What the healing looks like for this person, this overly sensitive person that's unable to calm themselves down, that's unable to stop focusing on things and fixating on things and obsessing on things, that's frustrated much of the time or going into depression, having these anxiety bouts, panic attacks. That person needs to start reparenting themselves. Because what that looks like is like a child. Temper tantrum. It looks like a child. You ever complain about things going on with you and you're talking to this person, you're like, I know this person's judging me. I know this doesn't make sense. I know this is immature. You know? What we have to do is get a hold of that adult person, and I've got a few strategies listed here. That wise person inside of you, there's a part of you that's like a child. There's a part of you that's immature. And there's a part of you that is mature. There's a part of you that is mature. Get a hold of that part. That's a rational part. That part said, I think I'll look at this video today. That part said, I think I'll read this book and learn about this. That part said, I think I need help. That's that mature adult part that said something is right here. We need to do better. You get that part to start taking care of that other part. And it might mean doing some things that you didn't get to do before. It's reparenting. One of the things I do with clients a lot in my practice, we do a lot of reparenting. I teach you, okay, you might not have had that parent that was nurturing before. You may have been that person that was yelled at when you tried to bake that cake on the floor, you know, yelled at when you took that egg and threw it against the wall, or yelled at when you took that glass and just dropped it on the floor. Or even yelled at when they said, don't touch that candle, and you touched that candle and got burned. Or don't touch that stove and you touched that. And you need to relive some of that. You need to relive some of that. Relive some of it. You might need to let that kid know, visualize that, remember it, and visualize it. And visualize yourself coming in on that scene, letting that kid know, I know it hurts. I know you needed to do that, and it's okay. I saw earlier terrific twos, like Bradshaw used to call it. Yeah, you're terrific. You're terrific no matter what. You're still a terrific person. You're still a worthwhile. That's what reparenting looks like. Oh my God, I'm so lonely. Will I always feel like this? I feel so bad. I feel so anxious. I can't sleep at night. What would a loving adult parent tell that child? Where's that part of you? And sometimes we need adult supervision. Where's that? What are you going to tell that child that's obsessing and say, I can see you feel like that. That's where we need the empathy. I can see you feel like that. It's okay to feel like that. It's not bad. There's no part of you that's bad. You just are. You're just emotional. You just are. You're just wired like that for right now. This is where you are right now. You honor it, you acknowledge it, you respect it, and you love it. Watch what happens with all that obsession and all those overwhelming feelings when you continue to do that on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Before, when I did a live stream and I talked about rituals. You have your daily ritual, especially if you're one of these persons with this huge emotional magnetic field. Have you a daily ritual. Have your ritual that you have before work and after work. When you're going to go and be around a bunch of people, you have a ritual that you do. I tell some people, when you go to work, leave your kid at home. Leave. Some people need that visual. Some people that feels like abandonment. But for some, they need that visual. When you're going to go and your boss called you and we're like, your boss said, I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you. I need to see you. In our mind, what do they want? I wonder if they want to talk about this. I wonder about maybe this. I wonder about what is it? Maybe they're going to do this. Maybe they're going to do it. We're obsessed, especially if you're preoccupied. That is that child that's scared. I'm in trouble. I made a mess on the floor again. That's what's triggered. You let that little child know, I am going, as an adult, I'm going to go and talk to my supervisor. That's not your role. This is how reparenting look. I want you to feel safe and sound here. Why don't you sit here at my desk? Sit here at my desk. You can visualize this. This is a conscious visualization. You little girl, you're innocent. I know you're scared. You're okay. You don't have to deal with this. Sit here at my desk. I'm going to go into the office here and I'm going to talk to my boss. I'm going to take care of it. And then I'm going to come back. And then when we leave here to work today, we'll go and do something fun. We'll do whatever you want to do. Do you want to color? You want a Crayola color book? My little girl inside likes color books. Not these adult books that you use that everybody loves that says it calms them down. She liked the old-fashioned color books. The ones with cats in them, to be more specific. So we're going to go to Walmart. We're going to buy you a little toy. We're going to go to the dollar store. And we're going to get you whatever you want in the dollar store. Whatever you want, we'll do that. But I'm going to take care of this supervisor situation. If you do something like that on a regular basis, you will be amazed at how that type of reaction will start going down with many people, even the narcissists. So for sometimes, if you haven't experienced something that you experienced as a child, and it's safe to do it as an adult, because you may have been scolded, or you may have been yelled at, or you may have been put down, or you may have been shamed because of that, something that you did. And if it's safe to do it, here's another one: getting dirty. Did you have a parent that got on you about keeping your clothes clean and immaculate? And so when you were at the park, you couldn't play like you needed to? There might be a part of you that wants to go and jump in a puddle of mud. That part of you might still be there. That is that child. Being true to yourself, Mr. and Mrs. Empath, means go jump in a puddle. Go to the beach and sit in that sand and cover up with the mud. Go walk in the rain. Jump in the rain. Jump in a puddle of water. So those are some examples of being true to yourself. So what it takes is to take a minute and take a deep breath and calm down. Calm your muscles down, because the body gets like this with empaths. That strong energy field is we just get so anxious and preoccupied. Calm down and say, what's really going on with me? What do I really need to do? I need to rest. It might be that simple. I need to sleep. I need to focus on this over here instead of that. I want to focus on that, but I need to focus on this. I want to obsess about that. Well, what's going on that you need to obsess? So you have this mental conversation from this adult place. What are you scared about? The obsession is usually about fear. I'm fearful about something. I feel like I'm not good enough for something. There's something going on. You have that conversation. So you're okay. What is it you need, little child? Little scared child, little 2-year-old, or teenager. Teenagers, the teenage part of us is really angry. What are you angry about? Sometimes it's helpful to think about, okay, I feel like I'm about 14 years old. I feel like I'm about 15 years old. What really happened when you were 14 or 15? You might be able to connect it to something like that. So that's what therapy is about. And is you go back and you look back. We call that psychodynamic therapy. You go back and you begin to connect the dots. I feel like this. What's happened is that I'm going into my teenager. I'm going into that little girl. I'm going into that 2-year-old. You know, that was messy, that broke things, and I'm in trouble. So you do those types of exercises. So what do you think is the best way to self-regulate? It's different for different people. One of the first things, one of the easiest things that most people do is take deep breaths, and you breathe from your diaphragm. We tell you take deep breath, you breathe in, and you take a deep breath, maybe hold it for a second, and then you breathe out. You take deep breaths and you breathe out from your diaphragm. Sometimes we have to take our hand and put it on our belly and take a deep breath, and then we breathe out and we let it out. And then we just take some deep breath, and then we start breathing normally. And what you do is it's mindfulness. You focus on your breathing. You focus on what's going on over here. You take a deep breath. So, the cool air is going into my mouth. I feel cool air in my mouth. I feel it on my tongue. I feel it at the roof of my mouth. And then when I breathe out, I feel warm air coming out of my mouth. If you close your mouth, I feel warm air coming out of my nose. I feel it in my nostrils. You notice the air coming here as well. You notice that it's energy as well. It's what we're doing. We're rotating energy. We're moving energy actually in a circular level. You're taking control of your energy field. Okay. Sometimes it helps, and sometimes I have clients do this. I tell them, even physically, because there's some physical stuff going on. I say, sometimes we say, okay, let me calm myself down. You've seen that. Let me calm myself down. If you're an empath, you can feel that when someone, and you can feel it really easy. If you're in the midst of someone and they go, let me calm down, you can feel it, and you can feel it strong. Sometimes I have people, when I try to get them to receive, empaths are good at receiving because it makes them vulnerable, actually makes them feel vulnerable. Hence, that's the flip side of that narcissist. They are not good at receiving. They want to give, and do, and that's where their identity comes from rather than receive it. So sometimes I have an empath take your hands and hold them out, like hold them open, and someone gives you a compliment. Someone says, you look really good today. Rather than that dismissing it, I wonder what they're up to. They really don't mean that. They're just saying that just to make me feel better. They just know I'm upset about something. Rather than pushing it back, do this. Okay, let me take that in. Let me take that in. Someone says, I think you're a really loving person. Hold your hands up. Let me take that in. And you can say it out loud. Wait a minute, let me take that in. One of the things I used to do, and sometimes I'll do it today. If I know I'm at a low point, if I know my energy is low that day, and someone says something positive to me, I say, wait a minute. Let me take that in. Okay, now I got it. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. When you're an empath, when you've been, especially if you've been in a relationship with a narcissist, you're way on the other end of selfless. So you might look at that as selfish. We look at self-love as selfish. When what it really is self-care. It's just saying, you know what? I agree with that. That's an okay thing to be. It's okay to be kind. It's okay to be loving. It's okay to be powerful. It's okay to be strong. And it's okay to say no. It's okay. It's okay to say I don't like that or I do like that. Whatever it is, whoever you are, it's okay for you to be you. Let's check the time here. Okay. All right. So I think I'm over. So I want to drop a few pointers here and then I'm going to go offline. Make sure I covered everything. Learn from your experiences. There's always something that you can learn from. redefine what rejection looks like. Maybe we'll talk about rejection next Thursday. Rejection. What is rejection? Because a lot of times there's all types of behaviors when we feel rejected, when someone tells us no, when we tell someone else no. Redefine what that whole thing is. Neediness. Give others space. If you're preoccupied, anxious empath, it's important that you know that you need to give people space. There's nothing, and if you are a fearful avoidant empath, you need to ask for space sometimes and not be so fearful around it. You need your space. You need to pull back and regroup. You need to regroup. If you go on a trip somewhere, you might need to have a different car. You might need to let people know, because especially if you're with a needy type of person, a needy type of narcissist, so to speak, or you're around people, you might need to let people know, I got to be to myself sometimes. You got to pull away sometimes and regroup, because you're going to get overwhelmed and you're going to get overstimulated by all this input into your system. Let's see. We want you to own. When you feel fearful about something, you own it. You say it. It's okay to say, I'm uncomfortable with that. I'm nervous that, well, when you didn't call, I felt that, blah, 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 blah. But we say it, and we say it directly, and we're done with it. And the other person is going to respond however they respond. So you speak your truth. Let's see. And develop, what is it? Develop structure and boundaries. It's important to have structure. As an empath, we're all over the place. We just go with the flow. You just go with the flow. We just go with whatever the energy of the moment. Develop structure and rituals in your life. To have principles that you live by. The reason why I'm not going to take that job because I don't believe in that philosophy over there. The reason why I'm not going to take this job because I don't believe in that culture, that type of culture. Know what it is you want, know what works for you, and know what doesn't work for you. So that's how you get to know you. You get to meet you, and you take care of that little person on the inside of you, and you will notice that you are living with less stress, less anxiety, less fear, and certainly less narcissism in your life. Okay, hopefully that was helpful. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, this will be posted on YouTube. This will be posted on Facebook. This will be posted on my narcissistic abuse survival group, Facebook group. And it will be posted on my Facebook page as well. I'm going to have it all over the place. I have an Instagram. I have my YouTube channel. If you do a search for Gardner Counseling Services on YouTube, you can see a whole slew of videos about attachment styles. If I will offer a free 15-minute consultation if any of you are new and you would like to have a conversation with me about something. Again, hopefully you will have a good Thursday, and we will see you next week at noon. Bye-bye.